Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for November 8, 2021, the Leading with Love edition. We begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal, which profiled Patty Pope, who has one of the toughest CEO jobs around. She is the CEO of PG&E, and she surprised her own board with a multi-billion-dollar plan to bury the utility's fire-prone power lines. Bold action, but what struck me about the article was her leadership style, which is leading with love. It's not something you often see or hear about, so it's going to be interesting to see if she can bring PG&E back from the brink. It also brings up several different types of risks that have emerged over the past year, and for PG&E, climate risk has turned out to be one of the biggest. Next up, also from the Wall Street Journal, the SEC has named Nicole Criolla Kelly as the whistleblower program chief. Ms. Kelly, who goes by Cree, has more than 20 years' experience with the SEC. She previously worked at the whistleblower office and has served several other roles at the SEC, including counsel to then Chairman Mary Jo White and to then Commissioner Kara Stein, as well as in the Enforcement Division's Complex Financial Instrument Unit. So, welcome to Ms. Kelly. Next up, the Deal Book, New York Times Deal Book, profiles Stephen Donziger, the lawyer who got a $18 billion judgment against Chevron in Ecuador, which was later found to have been procured through bribery and corruption. He is serving a 6-month sentence for contempt of court. His story has been pretty well profiled. I was a little bit surprised to see it in the Deal Book, but nevertheless, I thought a fairly well-balanced story, and a story of a lawyer who clearly had lost his way against a corporation who was not willing to be bullied or extorted when he corruptly obtained the judgments which he did in Ecuador. And our final story is a kind of a creepy story, actually. It's entitled The Return of Willard. For anyone of a certain age, you remember Willard. He was the chief rat, he was a character who had a bunch of rats following him, much like the Pied Piper. Ben was his chief rat, and he was made famous in a song by Michael Jackson. But a chicken delivery person filmed a Popeye's fried chicken when he delivered the raw chicken with rats scurrying around in the kitchen, and this went viral on TikTok, and Popeyes terminated the franchisee's contract and the store is closed. So don't let rats run in your chicken. It will definitely harm your sales and perhaps your store.
The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.